us a little bit why redundancy is important for these data centers? We hear a lot about it. I think most of us have a good idea, but from your own perspective, why is it important?
Yeah, I mean, at the very base level, I mean, many of us experience this at our homes, right? Many of us have only one choice for a home internet provider. And if we're in that situation, we know that that one choice isn't very motivated to bring the best service, bring the best technology, let alone bring the best pricing. So, this is the beauty of competition in the commercial space is it keeps all the providers honest. So one dynamic that's out there is these hyperscalers, they want choice. They want companies like mine to be able to compete well with other companies so that they're getting the very best out of all of them. And then the second thing is just a pure architecture thing. Like, these are mission critical systems and applications. They can't go down, so they need redundant and diverse paths. At the end of the day, if you just look at the internet, or you boil it and distill it down to its kind of core essence, you can really connect the dots, through fiber optic routes of where things go. And when you realize that, that means even though you've got dynamic routing, IP level, all sorts of different, leading edge routing capabilities that the equipment manufacturers come down to, they got to transit fiber optic cable at some point. And so understanding where all that is allows these customers and the architects at these customers to design the most redundancy so that if one path goes down, they're not just beholden to that path. Now, that's something else that I think we bring to the table is I've got a lot of smart architects and engineers in my company. And so we sit down often over a conference room table and, we roll out the paper maps and we shoot KMZs up onto the big screen TVs and we're leaning in and we're designing, hey, we need this route to go this way. And it can't go that way. And so having all of that come together, like I said, arm in arm with a customer, is I think where, the most important and resilient networks get built.
Sounds like the war room.
It can be.
Right,
it can
right.
Be. Yeah.
That's fascinating, Chris. Thank you for that. And these data centers, they're not without controversy. I guess we should mention that. I know you've been active in Kentucky, and can you tell us about kind of the dynamics in Kentucky that are kind of driving this growth in data centers and how data centers can play into the larger economic development of that state?
Sure. So Great Plains Communications and through our subsidiary in Kentucky called GPC Fiber. So we operate in 13 states, 19,000 fiber miles from Colorado east to Kentucky and Indiana. So Kentucky is our newest build. It's a 165-mile build that's kind of in that corridor from Louisville east to Lexington, and it picks up communities, if you're familiar with the area, like Jeffersontown and the capital of Kentucky, Frankfort, and other towns like that. So one of the most important relationships that we've developed there is with Aforio Carter. So they're a third-party, carrier-neutral, Tier 3 data center, 10,000 square feet now, building out to 26,000 square feet. So that relationship was important to us and to Aforio Carter, I think, for a couple of reasons. One is we needed a place to put our mission-critical equipment, to drive services over that 165-mile ring-based architecture network. And from an Aforio Carter perspective, they're building an ecosystem inside of that data center, and having us and other carriers there for that competition, for the redundancy we talked about, for just, cross-connecting on mission critical applications. It all kind of works synergistically, and it just kind of, the success builds on the success, as more and more people put their equipment there and connect there, it just becomes this virtuous cycle of building that ecosystem there. So,
Chris, what do you mean by mission critical equipment operations? What can you explain on that?
sure. I mean, it's different for every business, right?
Hmm.
So, if you're a coffee shop owner, you may very, very well view your point of sale system as an absolute mission critical application. The teenager that's working behind the counter may also view your Wi-Fi and internet access as a mission critical application as well. Certainly your customers in the coffee shop might. If you are a hospital, your access into your back office systems, be they billing or health records or that type of thing, are likely mission critical. But in any business's sort of IT stack, there's gonna be things that absolutely have to work and can't go down. So when we're again arm in arm with these types of businesses, we're trying to identify what those mission critical applications are, and then designing the most resilient connectivity that we can for those.
Well, Chris, I want to thank you for your time. I guess I'll do something risky here. I ask one question off the record, or
Sure.
not on the prepared questions I sent over. I just want to ask you, how has Great Plains evolved their mission with the changes in the industry? Has that changed at all for the company, or have they remained consistent, in their mission?
Well, I think we've got sort of a core principle that, I guess we got a couple of core principles that we operate on that I think serve us well. Some of them I've mentioned, kind of that commitment and ability to construct and things like that. But fundamentally, we think it makes sense when we put fiber optic cable into the ground or along a pole line, or we're serving a certain geographic area. There are multiple types of customers that can benefit from that connectivity. So that very well may be a residential neighborhood in some areas, or it's a commercial district, be it downtown or an office or an industrial park. Or you go a little bit further out of town and it's cell phone towers for the big three carriers. Or you go a little bit even further out of town and it's a data center, or ultimately maybe one of these large hyperscaler data centers. But Great Plains' view of the world is that fiber goes where that fiber goes. Why wouldn't we choose to monetize it as much as we possibly could?
Right.
Now, that means that we've got to spin a lot of plates, and sometimes that can be difficult. But we think that we've got expertise in spinning each of those plates that I've mentioned. So when that is indeed the case, then we go off and we capitalize them. And we think that just does a few things. One is it's multiple lines of revenue, multiple return profiles. It just makes us a financially healthier company. And we think at the end of the day, that helps everybody, right? That helps our customers, that helps our employees, that helps our investors.
Sure.
The other thing we do is, that financial health of being a really robust company helps the communities that we serve, be that a town where we're helping folks connect on a residential perspective, or the business community there, or some of the big wholesalers or fiber to the tower or hyperscalers or that type of thing. So we think those core principles kind of, is really, really relevant and helps us perform well. And then there's one last thing that I think just is overarching in everything that we do. And it sounds corny and other people say it, but we say it as well, and we really do believe it. But it's the commitment to the customer success and really understanding where that customer's coming from and really working with them to make sure that they have the very, very best customer experience and get the very best service. That, I think that's kind of what it ties it all up in a bow at the end of the day.
Well, that's a beautiful winning formula. And I think thank you for sharing that with us, Chris. And I thank you for your time today on Beyond the Cable. It's been a fascinating discussion.
Brad, thanks so much. I really, really enjoyed the conversation. Wish you all the best.